Welcome to the Shifting Realities podcast. I'm your host, Julie Allison, and with me, as always, is my friend Robert Perry.
Hi, Julie.
Now, hi, Rob. In this week's podcast, we're going to talk about the element of do not be in fear and all is not as it seems. Now, the reason for this is I've spent the last week or so, and probably last couple of weeks, it's as if I've been above the earth, just consciousness, looking down, or bird's eye view, fly on the wall view, of just witnessing some things that are going on, particularly on social media. So obviously, a lot of people are scrolling through social media. I happen to have seen it on Facebook, where particularly people in the spiritual world, I'm feeling that they're still doing the fear mongering. And that's where it's something where by now we should be totally out of that era, that element. The fear mongering feels to me like it was like the old fashioned, the new age spirituality. But I feel like something's coming in now. We could say it's been done to us, we could say the powers that be are trying the hardest um, to make it harder for us to be more pure, be more sovereign. But actually, remembering when we go back to this element of we create, so this theme, we create our reality. So amongst us all, we're only creating, what we're fearing. And so, what I want to say about this is, as a witness, it's almost like even I get into this where I want to, that thing where you want to shout at the computer, want to shout at the screen, stop doing this. This is, you're actually inviting things in, you're creating this circumstance for yourself. So, without going into too much detail of what I've seen, do you know what? I will just, some of it is talking about parasite and parasite cleansing at the moment because it's going into, obviously, with parasites. For anybody that doesn't know, you can have this in almost like etheric terms. Some of it we can have from previous lives where or if I say etheric term, in other dimensions. And then what's happening is because it's not actually being properly cleared out of our system, it's just repeating the loop, repeating the pattern over and over again to bring us into where we're living now in the 3D as a human. And parasites are very real and, physically affecting us. I'm here saying that, and I am not in fear of any of them. And I want all of you not to be in fear of them as well. So you might not have come up against this yourself, but anything, it's not just a parasite. That's all I'm getting is just constantly, be in fear of, these parasites, and they're taking ages and they're making everybody feel ill while you're detoxing. If you make, when I asked the guides about this, how is it making everybody ill? And if I tried a parasite cleanse, would it make me ill? The guide said, well, Julie, would you like it to make you ill? Or would you not like it to make you ill? Because you can choose, you can decide at this point in time. So you go, oh, for goodness sake, yes, of course. Yes, of course. I can choose to a certain extent, I can choose, what's happening with my life. And we keep forgetting this. So that's why this week we're just going to talk about how, you create your life and just you're creating it. So you don't need to be in fear of anything that's happening. I'm at a stage now where I'm witnessing some of the more in-depth things, the more hidden work where we might be dealing with kind of the reptilian side of things, some demon work. And again, if you can hear me, at the moment, there's nothing that's been in fear. They still have to abide by certain rules. There's some that break the rules, but they still have to abide by certain rules. And when we get help from, the dimensional beings, other, higher dimensional beings, everything is okay. So coming back, into a 3D, there is no need to be in fear. There is no need to be the victim of anything, even any illness, anything that is making us ill. Now, am I saying, that you should just get on with it and not not talk about being ill. No, not at all. Because that again will come into almost like an avoidance. And that's not what we want. What's happening at the moment, what I'm feeling into the energy is because we've all been doing a lot of clearing, and there'll be people who, many of us have been doing our own clearing, which then ripples out to even anybody that technically hasn't been doing their own clearing, but it's clearing the space for them because it means the matrix drops away, the energy drops away eventually when there's less and less of, of things to worry about. So there are, we're at a time now when everybody's going to, right, we're going to show you the next level of your clearing and the next level. Now, just to give you an example of this, I think, Rob, you were talking to me this morning about something, weren't you? And you said,
Yeah.
something's coming into my feed all the time and I'm just ignoring it, telling it to go away. I'm just ignoring it. I'm choosing to, I was witness to this and I kept thinking, that's just avoiding it. So we're trying to go, well, do you think there's anything that need to clear, Rob, on that? And no. And now we're working around this and thinking maybe there's just something I need to do again without getting into the depths of all the past and what's gone on. If you become the neutral observer on it, just become a witness to it rather than be in the total victim mode, makes it much easier. But I'll leave it to you, Rob, to sort of, for your experience, and this
Okay.
is totally different to parasites, but actually I've just been told by the guides
Or is
it's
it?
kind of in the same thing. It's the
Yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
thing.
Could well
So
be. Okay. Right. Good stitch up there. Thanks, Julie.
yes, of course,
We
as
were
always.
talking earlier about today's podcast, and I mentioned it, or just came up in the conversation, that I'm getting an enormous amount of right-wing media into my social media feeds. So wherever I look, I'm being fed quite extreme right-wing propaganda, and I just delete it because I don't recognize it, I don't want it, and that is not something I intend to engage with at all. I'm aware we're in an election cycle in this country, and a lot of the world has been in election cycles, or is. So there's lots of choices being made, and there is a sort of an incipient danger of a right-wing takeover in lots of places. But that's not my reality. My belief is that I'm not plugged into your matrix. I'm plugged into my own. Thank you very much. So would you kindly go away? Not always in such polite terms.
Mm-hmm.
And Julia was quite right in looking bemused while I was saying this. And obviously she was thinking, contracts, uncleared
Yes,
contracts. What's going
yes.
on here? And then I segued on with that into a friend and I often discuss, why did we choose, sole contract wise, to grow up in South Africa? I wasn't born there. I was born into a family that took me there. So I obviously chose this path. Why did I choose to grow up in one of the most appallingly evil right-wing societies that was on the planet at the time? Why did I witness horrific things right through and including democracy, which was a brief moment of joy in that country that didn't fundamentally change anything? And why am I still concerned and attracted and attached there? So said friend and I often talk about, why have we not dealt with this?
Mm.
What is there to deal with? Is there anything to deal with? Or are we just, because we spent so much of our lives there, are we just naturally interested and attached? But I think, Julie, you're absolutely right
Mm.
in the sense that we clearly have business that is not resolved,
Yeah,
whatever
I
it might
see it.
be,
I witness it. Yeah, I see
whatever it
it.
might be. And I think I've grown in the sense that I look at it completely neutrally.
Yes, absolutely.
I can absolutely look at both sides of it and go, yeah, that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not where I wish to engage. But that's the ostrich in the sand thing, isn't it?
Yes,
As in, I'll just look the other way, shall I? Because I don't really fancy
that's it.
dealing with that
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
So clearly there's work I need to do as to what is that. Why does the right wing issue hang around me when it's about as far away from who I am
What you
and
want.
could be possible?
Mm.
I don't understand. So
Mm.
yeah, I've got some work to do, haven't I?
It feels like, yeah,
Yeah.
some clearing work, and this is,
Mm.
what we do is we go, don't we, Rob? We anyone you would go within and you would ask the
Yeah.
question of your guide, of your high self and guide, because I'm seeing Rob and thinking soul. is going to Rob, for goodness sake, folded arms. For goodness sake, Rob, we're throwing it in your face. You've just got to clear this. It's your
I
next
have to
level.
interrupt you because as you said folded arms, I folded my arms. Literally. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that's soul
I've
coming
unfolded
through,
them now.
coming through with you. Yeah, like, for goodness sake,
Yeah.
Rob, will you listen to this? How, what else have we got to put in your face? It's this thing, isn't it? When we say, I've heard a lot of people saying, I just want the guides to really, I want some, I want to be witness to, I want some evidence that the guides are working for me. And the guys are going, we've done all this work, and I'll be the same. The only reason I can see what's going on with Rob in so many ways, I don't have the answers, but I can say the solution exactly. But I could see, gosh, Rob is saying, I didn't want to know that. I want to avoid it. And as soon as you start saying that, it's going to keep hitting you. That evidence hits you in the only way the guides and your soul can do it is in your face, 3D, in our reality. So it'll come through. It won't be you get your soul stood in front of your face. Soul will put something in front of your face to see, and then we've got to understand that we're getting to a level now where we're really needing to clear even more, different levels we're in. So this is Rob's new level that he needs to clear. To be really honest, it might take him 20 minutes and it's done. Once he works on it and goes, oh, is that it? Most of the time it's like, oh, is that it? Is that why I was just, it kept coming up? Because as Rob was talking to me about what he was getting in the feed, he then started talking to me. What he was doing was getting a memory up of what he's just said. Why did he, why did he choose to live in South Africa? It's witnessing horrific, all the horrific things. So, by no means are we saying this is this is just to take things lightly. And I absolutely get that the one thing you would want to do is avoid that thing. And this is not, Rob will not have to relive the childhood. He will not have to clear things by doing that. He just needs to, because especially at Rob's level, he, is like me, we can just work at it from being the neutral observer, and you work with that through working through your heart, your upper heart chakra, your heart center. We even have a meditation on out on the podcast and YouTube to help with heart center, to bring you to the neutral observer. It does really work. But we get where it's not just an odd meditation you do that all the time with everything, and you work with discernment as well. And so Rob, it probably won't take you long
I
to
hope it won't take me
work
long.
through that.
Yeah, and I'm more than up for doing the work to
Mm.
see what I can see and what I can find. I think the fact that I'm neutral about it now will help me because
Yeah,
I don't really attach any emotion to it. I'm curious as to why it
perfect.
persists.
Perfect.
So yeah, time for it to shuffle off, I think. Quite enough of
Yes.
that. Yeah, I don't feel any. I know we're talking sort of about fear today. I don't
Yes.
feel any real fear of it, but then I question, will I block out what I need to know because I fear my participation in it?
So
Fear my
a lot of
part of it?
forgiveness. Maybe
Be
there's a lot of
curious to know.
forgiveness.
Yeah, I'll report back on this channel if anybody wants to know
Definitely.
exactly if I find anything out. I mean, I played no active role in any right-wing activity and never have in my life. However, I lived in South Africa for 34 years. I
Mm,
must in some way be complicit.
mm, maybe.
So that's
Consider
I think a
that.
question I need to confront, or a
Yeah.
contract I need to open and discuss with the relevant authorities up there,
Mm,
because I
mm.
don't think it's a contract I wish to keep.
No. And you don't have
Yeah.
to have been, party to you don't have to have done something wrong yourself. You could have easily just been party. We've talked about contracts and hidden contracts to a certain, talked about contracts in the past. We're getting into new levels of almost like hidden contracts within our subconscious. Rob, so as one example, and I'm not, until we actually go, until Rob goes in and has a look at this, Rob could have signed a contract, and it's not necessarily he's the one that's going to be doing the badness, the evilness, how, just talking from a witness point of view. But even just being within that could be party to it, because you're holding open the resonance field without, and again, it could be unconsciously, we sign these etheric contracts consciously or unconsciously. So just by that, it might just be that Rob needs to get rid of that contract. It might not be a contract, but might just be some kind of agreement, something that it just needs to let go of. And I can hear what he said just then. If again, anybody, it's a good way to look at it, that there's some forgiveness as well Rob needs to do, to absolutely just let all that go. And that's all people, that's all any of us, all the guides are asking us to do, to let go of what the false, of all of this falseness and false grid and all the things that are keeping us within this entrapment, or I just want to say, again, with no fear, just from a witness point of view. So I think I have gone on a
If
long
you
time and
exhausted
said
yourself, yeah.
enough with everything there in terms of what, of what's going on. Once Rob clears all of this, he might get something else coming up, popping up, but now he'll know, like, oh, I've got something else to clear. And this is why we're ending up clearing, a lot of the, I don't know, let's just call it more evil things without just, it's hard to label it. We're getting into the realms of, we've cleared a lot, but there's more and more to clear. And this is why I think with my work, I'm getting more and more into being able to accept in, whether it's help for me or help with other, sort of other clients, that we're starting to work with the demons and things like that without any fear. I'm learning more and more about basically their point of view, even though we would think they shouldn't have a point of view. There's always something going on here. For Rob, what he might need to do is look at previous lives, look at even the galactic side, because now we're looking at a lot of galactic contracts, the cosmic contracts that might still be accountable for us or to us, or however you want to say it, by us here on Earth, that we're now wanting to see. But the main scope of this podcast was just literally, things are going to happen and you need to be the neutral observer, so you're not in fear. The neutral observer, you can then go up to the place of unconditional love, and that's the thing, that unconditional love, and then really connecting in with source. The fear disconnects you from source. That's you disconnecting yourself. So unconditional love connects you more and more with source, in order to go, I'm source. Well, we've created all this, but now it's time for us to uncreate it, to destroy it and uncreate it. And everything's all right there. So yeah, with instead of avoidance, instead of just ignorance, ignoring everything, it really is time to just clear some more, in order for us to become more of our pure, powerful, sovereign self. Is
Indeed.
there
Yeah,
anything?
we're
Right.
vibrational beings, and
Mm,
fear is the negative polarity that we have to deal with.
yeah.
We also have the positive polarity, and we have the 0 point
Mhm.
right in our center.
Absolutely.
So I would always urge people to revert to that 0 point for the truer picture of who they are, who we all are. And every one of us is entirely unique, and everyone's 0 point will be an entirely different experience. So again, yeah, go back, please, a few chapters in our podcast, and there is that free guided meditation out there, which is to help you find 0 point.
Mm.
So if you haven't done that yet, give it a go. Really recommend it. And just, yeah, it's about observing neutrally, which is not observing without emotion or extracting yourself from it. It's just not accepting the fear of it
Mm.
or any other negative emotion you want to apply to it. Just being able to see from a standpoint of your own truth. And what is your truth, and how do you bring it forward? Because if you don't live in your truth, you don't ascend in any which way.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a nice time to end. So yeah, definitely have a listen to that meditation. And if anybody from this, I do hope from what I've said, I've not put any fear mongering out there. So if you have any questions, any concerns, please just email us. Email is below. The email details are below. And that's all we've got for today. See you next week.
Bye bye now.